everybody, it's Heather. Welcome back to the channel. Tonight, we are exhausted, but we're always tired. And when I say I'm tired, I don't mean like I did too much today. I mean like my bones are tired. Like everything is tired. But I hope everybody is doing well tonight. Tonight, we are getting started with um, the cold and your muscles and your injury risk. Because here's the thing. Tonight, we're not talking about snow and older adults. We're just talking about fall risk or anything like that. We are talking about how the cold can actually change how your body moves, no matter if you're 80 or 18. Tonight, we're going through some actual research. They will be linked in the description. I have a crap ton of articles, but I'm not going to link the ones that we don't talk about for obvious reasons. But that way, y'all can reference what I am talking about, and we're going to skim the research. I will put it in the description for you to actually go through if you feel. However, I do have to get tonight started off with a positive note. Um, a very positive note. Thank you, Debbie Baker, for the $10 Cash App. You've made my Sunday because I went to Walmart today. I braved the snowpocalypse down here and went to Walmart and overspent. Um, yes, cold weather sucks. I am not a fan of cold weather. Hence why I moved to Southeast Georgia. If I was a fan of cold weather, I would have stayed my butt in Wisconsin. But that's not how it went. It's not how it went. And I do notice that in the wintertime, everything personally starts to hurt more. And being a chronic pain sufferer and then having higher pain levels in the cold just makes everything so much better. So the FYI, the little is laying down with her dad. However, there might be a chance that we get a unexpected visitor beating down the door. Yeah, she is in pajamas. She is ready to go after chasing her around the house in her birthday suit, trying to get her into a diaper. The good news is she's so dead set against diapers that she doesn't want to put one on. The bad news is I need to put one on her for bedtime, and you know. Good news is we went all night last night without going to the bathroom. She kept a dry diaper all night. That is one proud mama. Proud mama. We're working on it. I'm feeling the cold and my muscles joints are sore. Yeah. And if you haven't hit that like button yet, please do. Please do. I would greatly appreciate it. Hi, Cynthia. How are you? So tonight we're going to get into this because we're going to do this in 45 minutes is the goal. So we're going to try to get this done in 45 minutes. I do have all of my research right here in a note. So if you see me constantly look back, it's because I have a tab open with all of my research open, and then I have tabs with each of the research open. So here's where we're starting. We're going to start with what cold actually does to your muscles and your connective tissue. Cold actually changes how your tissues behave. Think about your muscles as a rubber band, and I don't actually have a rubber band, but I did decide to pull out my Apple Watch out of the drawer, and I haven't worn it in 6 months, so we're going to just use my Apple Watch as a band. If it's cold and I pull on this really hard, it's going to snap. It's not flexible. It doesn't want to move. It doesn't bend with you. It hurts when you move it. Think of that as your muscles. That is the most rudimentary way that I can think of describing that. There is obviously more anatomically and physiologically going on. But that, yeah, oof. I was walking on what I thought was clear road, but it was black ice. I fell on my hip. Thankfully, I had enough padding for my jackets. When was that? When was that? Um, when was that? Because today, the my house faces a direction where we don't get direct sunlight on the front door, which is kind of awesome in the summertime when it's hotter than Satan's butt crack. But but the flip side of that is when it's snow and icy, the few times when it is oh, no, 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 no. No, no. I'm so sorry to hear that, but I'm glad you're okay. Um, the bad news about the flip side of the coin is the few times when it gets icy, my front porch is like a skating rink, which is fine if I have my skates on, but I didn't. So I almost took a tumble off the step today. Um, kind of from someone who's lived in a northern climate most of her life, um, small steps, and just because you don't know what or the environment looks fine doesn't mean it is. So, um, oh yeah. Well, I'm glad you're okay. Yeah, snow is ki kind of a little softer sometimes. Not always, but sometimes. But I'm glad you're okay. Getting back to the, oof, oof. Getting back to the, what cold does to your tissues. Because I mean, and you're so when you wake up in the morning, Cynthia, before you, get out of bed, I recommend just kind of doing some, like, light mobility, because when you stand up, you might be in a little bit of discomfort. I'm just gonna put that out there. Like, you nothing physically wrong in the sense of, like, nothing broken, nothing strained, nothing pulled, anything like that, but just the jarring of the fall, can do numbers on your, joints and tendons and stuff, but you generally won't feel it until the next day. So, yeah, you may notice that you're sore tomorrow. Yep. Yep, penguin walk. Yes. Oh, and speaking of the resident penguin walk, if you guys see Timothy, you guys won't see Timothy, Horsley around here for a little bit. He is going through a family emergency. He is okay, but just keep him in your thoughts and prayers. That's all I'm gonna say about that, but he will need your thoughts and prayers for him and his family right now. All right, because yeah. So cold makes you stiff. It reduces that elasticity. Like I said, the rubber band, thinking about putting like a rubber band in a freezer, it doesn't stretch. However, you put the rubber band in warm water, it starts to stretch, it's pliable, it moves, it, it's easy to manipulate. Um, you get reduced blood flow as well. Vasoconstriction happens in the cold. It's one of the reasons that people put cold on their headache on their head when they have a headache, because it constricts the blood vessels. So when you reduce the blood flow, your muscles don't get that blood either, and your tissues don't get that blood. The tendons don't have much blood flow anyway, but what little blood flow they did get, um, is reduced. I'm trying to when I'm going through this, I'm trying to like so I have it written down in a certain way, and then I'm like, "Wait, that's not gonna make sense to the average person." So I'm in the middle of speaking, trying to manipulate my words. Um, oh, yes, a warm bath would be nice. J. Katie Buck in the house. How are you guys? Ah, alright. So, reduced blood flow with the muscles, slower force production. Things don't work as well. Um, everything is harder. It seems like it's more effort to walk up a flight of stairs in the cold than it is in the heat. And then feeling stiff, this is where feeling stiff actually matters biomechanically because when we're stiff, we're more prone to injury. So I do have a couple of articles. I have one from the National Library of Medicine, National Center for Biotech Information. Cold exposure and musculoskeletal conditions. And this was self-reported, so you can kind of take the self-reporting as like a some people might exaggerate kind of a situation. However, they found that cold exposure increases the risk of musculoskeletal conditions. And then they say that future studies are going to be needed because of the nature of these studies. So the um, studies associated different cold exposures and regional musculoskeletal conditions. But just due to how the studies were conducted and they were mostly self-reported, you can kind of take it with a grain of salt. But remember, science is always changing, and sometimes where there's smoke, there's fire. So a lot of the times, self-reported studies aren't taken as seriously. But I also look at self-reported studies of I had so many symptoms for years and nobody believed me. So take them with a grain of salt. Hey, Christine, how are you? And then there was another one about working in a cold environment or feeling cold at work and chronic pain. And this was a cross-sectional analysis. This was better, but they found that working in a cold environment was significantly associated with chronic pain. And that you wonder why people move to Florida when they retire. So we're going through these kind of fast, um, but they will be linked for you to read if you so choose. That says the observed association was strongest for pain at musculoskeletal sites and those who often felt cold at work, which is like me because will sit here and it's like I will freeze for no reason at all. It's warm in my house. It's warm at my desk, but I'm still freezing. Oh, right now I'm tired. Like right now, I really, really wish I could reach for a cup of coffee, but then I'd be up all night. All night. So it goes back to the analogy. Your muscles are like a rubber band. You freeze it, a nice cold rubber band, and try to yank on it, especially with force production. So you try to yank on a rubber band. Let's see if I have a this is a really bad example, but the hair tie. You freeze this, you pull on it, and it might snap. Versus if it's warm, like it is now, it stretches. It regains its shape. It stretches, it regains its shape. It's pliable. It can twist, it can bend, no pain. But I freeze this, I go to pull on it, especially quickly, and something might snap. And that's where you get an injury because that snapping is your hamstring, your quadricep, your Achilles, something that you don't realize how much you need it until you don't have it anymore. All right. So now going to my favorite or least favorite thing in the world, your nerves and your reaction time, leading to an increased risk of injury. Everybody knows, well, most people that know me know my issue was a neurological and nerve pain issue. Nerves are kind of get get on my nerves. So cold slows down nerve conduction. It seems like common sense if you've taken any sort of biology class. You look at a slide, you put an organism on a slide, you put that slide under the microscope. If it's warm, they're gonna be moving pretty fast. If it's cold, things start to slow down like a cold-blooded animal. It moves very, very slow in the cold, and then they fall asleep. Delayed muscle activation means slower balance corrections, which means when you are outside in an icy environment and you slip, that reaction time isn't as fast as, say, if you were to fall off a curb in the summertime. Your balance reactions aren't quite as fast. Now you're combining slower reaction times with a slicker environment. It can lead to not good things. Cold weather never used to bother me much since RA came onto the scene. Even though it's well treated, I can feel the weather changes. Long hot showers sure do feel nice and loosen things up. Yeah, I have a sauna blanket. It's more convenient than a big old sauna. It is a little inconvenient because I have it in the bedroom, and Mr. Squid goes to bed at like 7:30. So it is a little inconvenient for me to use every night, but I hop in the sauna blanket at least twice a week, and I've noticed a significant difference in, like, just overall discomfort, especially after going to the gym. I was supposed to work out today, but I can't even get on and off, like, the toilet right now without, like, pushing up on something. That's how sore my legs are. Um, this is why, like, a near fall or a near miss can turn into a tragedy. It's not always that the person's balance got worse. The cold did affect eh, the cold did affect how someone's balance works. So this applies to basic things. We just said walking off of a curb, walking in the snow, but you can't always avoid walking in the snow or on the ice because you have to get groceries out of your car. You have to walk to your car and go to work. You have to walk into work. Like, life doesn't stop because it snowed, unless you live in the South, and then, you know, the kids have off school here tomorrow because the main roads are fine, but the back roads suck. Speaking of that, I have to go get my little on the potty chair. I will be right back. Mama mama mode time. Hey, guys. Oh, we only got like an inch. I will have to go and get her off off the potty chair in a minute, but she sometimes likes to sit there for a little bit. So, yeah, you just don't go out. And for some people, that unfortunately is an option and a necessity. But for a lot of people, it's not. Yeah, I wish it was. So I have an article, and I'll show. Oh, 7 inches. No, thank you. Yes, mama duties equal get up and stretch intermission. So I will actually share this with you guys this time because here we go. Uh, practicing sport. Yeah, this one. So I found some of these articles really interesting because when you're researching, and this is where AI comes in because I will tell ChatGPT, search for 10 articles related to um, musculoskeletal pain and the cold weather. And you will get everything from fall prevention on ice, from like an occupational therapy perspective, to practicing sports in cold environments. The wide range of articles that and things that have been studied in relation to cold weather and injury risk do not discriminate based on age. That is the fascinating part of this, and one of the things that I wanna stress on this channel is that you don't have to be, elderly or injured or have chronic pain issues to watch this channel. You can be an athlete who just wants to prevent injury. You But for the people who are a little older, not moving as well, there will be content that you can also relate to that might be talking about practicing sports, but you can also relate to it just in a different way. So I don't this channel is not just for the 18-year-old athlete who wants to prevent injury and they want a scholarship to college, for sports. This is not about the fall prevention for the 70-year-old who lives by themselves and wants to stay independent. This channel is for everybody. So, yes. Oh, yes. YouTube is asshat disclaimer. So, yes. If you watch your chat disappear or you don't see your chat, good chance it's not my mods. There's a good chance of that. There's a really good chance that it's a YouTube thing. Your son is an OT, PT. I'm gonna give him your channel name. Thanks. I'm a COTA by background, so this is my disclaimer. I'm an OTA. I am a lymphedema therapist, certified lymphedema therapist, and I have a certification in corrective exercise. But none of that I am not your occupational therapy assistant. I am not your corrective exercise. I have not worked one-on-one with you. So take everything you see on this channel as general education. And if you do feel the need or think some of these things can apply to you, discuss it with your treatment team, your doctors, your rehab team, and then come to me. I have links in my link tree for a one-on-one session to talk to me one-on-one. And then once you are cleared for movement with your doctor and your treatment team, then I can become your corrective exercise specialist. I will never be your CODA because that requires orders from a doctor and a clinical setting, and I am just not that kind of person anymore. I am just not that kind of person anymore. I will never work in a clinical setting like that again if I can help it, because 2020 changed me. Oh, he's also in Georgia. Oh yeah, I forgot you live not you unbelievably far from here. You live in the same state as me. Yeah. It doesn't matter to the YouTube overlords. And I have to give my disclaimer to the YouTube overlords because it makes them happy. And if I ever want to grow my channel, making the overlords happy is a necessity. All right, practicing sport in cold environments, practical recommendations to improve sport performance and reduce negative health outcomes. So this one is interesting. And because the first sentence when I read it, it got me. It made me laugh because it says, although not a barrier to perform sport, cold weather environments may influence sport performance. My sport, before I moved to the state of Georgia, my sport was figure skating. Cold weather, cold all the time. It's so sport performance in cold weather just kind of made me, the way it's written just made me laugh. So they looked at specific focus on winter sports are usually completed in cold environments and practical recommendations for physical prep and how to prevent injury. So, and then they say, for instance, an air temperature of 5 degrees Celsius may be considered as cold. However, an exercising heavily clothed person in that environment may be hot. I can tell you that 40 degrees, 40 to 50 degrees was about where the rinks were at all the time. And, like, once you get moving, you are in a tank top and leggings because you are sweating on ice. So I could read all these to you, but that would be boring. I'm just kinda giving you the Cliff Notes of these. When the little is done, I will be right back. Thank you for your cooperation. I thought of you said spork performance. Thought of Carmen. Do I even wanna know the story behind that? But Cynthia, it was like 17 degrees this morning. I was like, "No, no, no. I moved to the wrong state. I'm hurting like hell. 10 inches of snow shovel today. Oh, please tell me you paced yourself. You're always late. It's okay. I appreciate you being here." Um, we are just going over some research on cold exposure and sport performance. So endurance. So you can look at this dose dependent nature of cold exposure on endurance exercise. So people think of endurance exercise as running, skating, skiing, like everything like that. Well, this right here, snow shoveled today, that is a winter endurance exercise. When I worked at the hospital, um, every time it snowed, we would get an influx of new patients, especially if it was that wet, heavy snow. We called it heart attack snow because people who aren't really apt and aren't really conditioned for long term exercise or endurance exercise are now out there shoveling snow for hours at a time. It does something to you. So, Devil Fan, thanks for your unfortunate suffering today, but it thanks for letting me use you as an example. Uh, yeah, it's cardio. It it's cardio, but when you're not conditioned for it, and you live a sedentary lifestyle and you're out there shoveling, pacing yourself is a good idea because think of it as an endurance exercise. So I shoveled yesterday twice. I keep busy. I cleaned out the refrigerator today. Like when I say I cleaned out the refrigerator, like I took all the food out of the refrigerator and I cleaned the refrigerator because hey Jeffrey, I'm really late. Not really. I can at least be used or something. Oh my goodness. All right. So we're gonna skip down to um, right here, effective cold. I'm giving you guys the Cliff's notes of this because this is a very good article, but it is very scientific, geeky read. Even for me to read and remember, It talks about wrist flexion, force contraction, and dynamic eccentric concentric contraction bouts. Like, it gets a little anatomy focused. But so it just looks at cold stress may alter manual performance, grip strength, depending on the type of cooling and performance tasks. This can be relevant to climbing sports. Oh, this can be relevant to holding a shovel or carrying your groceries in the snow. It's it's yeah. Last weekend I shoveled snow for a total of 10 hours. I'm too old for that. Gonna get a snowblower. Speak of the devil. I might know somebody who is traveling through that area in about July who might have a snowblower for sale. It's an older snowblower, but the damn thing still works. Um, Cause yeah. Devil fan, devil fan, devil fan. You're gonna be the death of me. We'll talk. We'll talk. Y'all are why do y'all scare me every week? Y'all tell me your stories. But so this article is about sport performance, but you can think of sport performance as shoveling your driveway. Oh no, oh no, oh no, oh no, oh no, oh no, oh no. Yeah, the snow is gone from my like everywhere where the sun touched today, it's gone. If you need a day off tomorrow, let me know. If you need tomorrow off, let me know. We can push it back a week. All right. So exercise in the cold exposure and potential health issues. So health issues defined as optimal physical, mental, and social states. Acute changes in respiratory health has been identified in a number of cold air ventilation sports, including Nordic sports, ice hockey, and figure skating, and speed skating. Okay. The inspiration of large volumes of cold, dry air in a workout or competition resulting in water loss from the airways, increasing the osmolar yeah, science. Basically, like I said, once again, translating sport and how it talks about sports to real world everyday person, like everyday activities. Living up north, drier air. You are outside doing things in the wintertime for an extended period of time. That could even include um, cutting wood if you have a fireplace. You don't think of the breathing the dry air can do a number on your lungs. So it was more funny than injury. Oh no, but you get like, oh, mm-mm. So this one's really long. I did enjoy reading it. However, I had to read it in parts because it was, hard. Um, Occasional sports exposed to colder air environments. These sports or activities, primarily non-winter sports, would have occasional inclement weather. Cold weather and winter endurance. These sports or activities are primarily winter or competition occurs in cold or sub-zero conditions. Not a sport, but something that you do in the wintertime that you have no choice but to do, especially if you have an HOA or you live in a city with a sidewalk and you have rules and regulations regarding the clearance of that sidewalk. Oh no. Oh no. No, no, no. Oh. So this is your winter sport is shoveling. But I will be putting this article too in the description because it is a really good article. All right. Why does this matter to anybody? Let's go back to just me. There we go. I know. If I, the peace sign is balloons. I sometimes forget it when I'm talking because I learned sign language as a child. My mother was going to school to be a sign language interpreter at the same time that my father, they were divorced at the time, was dating a woman who was deaf, and he was learning sign language from her. So I literally, from the ages of like 3 to 7, got sign language on both sides of my family. So I talk a lot with my hands. The downside is one, it's distracting to people that don't understand why I do it. And secondly, oh, happy birthday. I mean, I wish it you didn't fall, but ugh, at the same time, it's distracting to people who don't understand that I sign. My sign language is slow. I don't know, but I can still do it from time to time. But it forces me to talk with my hands because from ages 3 to 7, I literally the formative years of speech figured out, Squid actually talks with her hands as opposed to simply being Italian. Yes, I am not Italian. I am Finnish, German, and Czech. Mm. What, do that with both hands? This, it doesn't it does the same thing. So, and this conversation that we kind of just had spans all of our age groups because when you are younger, you might have better muscle performance, better elasticity to your muscles. You have no scar tissue, things like that. However, your common sense, your situational awareness are lacking some very important skills. Uh, yeah, broken ASL too. My mom taught deaf and blind. I hope you meant deaf by that instead of dead and blind, because dead and blind, I mean, that's a skill in itself. Um, I'm from New Jersey. I know some sign language too, but not ASL. I mean, I'm pretty fluent in some sign language myself. Um, I'm not good at it anymore, but I was to the point where, when I was working with deaf patients, especially doing ADLs, um, activities of daily living, the bathing, dressing, stuff like that, I could work with a sign language patient without an interpreter. The I wasn't signed off by interpreter services to do it, but the patient would be like, I don't need you right now." So, it's, eh yeah, it has been quite a while. Have wanted to get back into it. There's just too many other things going on right now to be able to, you know. However, middle-aged adults, me, rushing, multitasking, load carrying, you're stepping on Legos, you're trying to do too many things at one time, and the brain cannot multitask. This is the thing that I want to stress to everybody. There is no such thing, scientifically speaking, as multitasking. Your brain is not capable of focusing on more than one thing at a time. There is alternate or is a alternating attention. There's a fancier word for it, but I can't remember it right now. You can go back and forth between one thing, one thing, one thing, one thing that looks like multitasking, but your brain cannot focus on two things at one time. It is impossible. It's dual tasking. You can go back and forth between two things, but your brain at any given second is only focusing on one thing at a time. So, yeah. Mothers are better than fathers, men are women without children. Yeah, it's I know, like, dual tasking is important, and it is an important skill, but, like, the brain itself, like, I can only look at my phone. I can't look at my phone and the chat at the same time. Like, the brain will only focus on one thing at a time. It's just your ability to go back and forth between the 2 that matters. And then older adults, you lose your baseline strength and your balance starts to reduce. You oftentimes have, comorbidities, sometimes 1, sometimes a laundry list of things that are wrong with you to the point where it can fill up an entire sheet of paper. Ask me how I know. I'm looking at someone, but they don't know. If you know who I'm talking about, you know who I'm talking about. So the cold doesn't cause your injuries, but here's where the distinction is. The cold doesn't actually cause your injury, but it removes any margin of error that you might have had. It removes that extra half a second that you caught yourself, and now it's gone. So, this is not so much of an action stream, is, um, because this was kind of just an educational stream, but if I had to give you something to take away from this stream, like a practical way to reduce your risk, before you go outside and do anything, when you are in a warm environment, light dynamic movement. If you have to stand at the counter and do knee raises before you go outside because you know you're going to be bending down and you're going to be bending your knees and you want your knees to be mobile, you know you're going to be bending over and reaching to the ground, um, do some light twists, back bends, things that will loosen up and prep you for the movement that you are about to do. And then keep your core and your limbs warm as possible. Um, things like if you aren't wearing a jacket, it's not cold enough for a true like winter coat, wear a vest. Keeps the internal organs or the vital organs um, nice and warm. Your back is completely, yeah, I bet. I bet. We can tomorrow. We'll go through some recovery stuff, some seated core stuff to protect your back. I got you. So I used to drive people crazy. You really used to drive people crazy at work. I would have no idea. I would talk with them while typing notes from the call I just finished, ears and mouth paired with hands and eyes. Nobody else could split their attention. Mm. I just sometimes just talk out loud, which is part of the reason that I decided to stream some of these like research streams, um, because I just talk out loud. And it's like, if I'm going to talk out loud, I might as well talk to people. Um, so uh, one other suggestion that I have is a lot of people put their hands in their pockets when they're walking. Not necessarily a good idea, especially in the cold. Um, I do layers when doing heavy exertion. I do pretty well in the cold, though I hate it. Yeah, I'm not a fan of the cold, but I do, you know, hands in pockets is never really a good idea. It reduces your ability to catch yourself. Sometimes we don't always need to like use our hand to put down on a surface, but even putting your arms out can catch your balance. And that little bit of a balance check can save you versus if your hands are here, you got nothing and you can't really pull your hands out of your pockets really quickly. So if you're going to go someplace in the cold, instead of putting your hands in your pockets, just wear gloves. Yeah, no action to brace your fall with hands in pockets. Yeah. Anything below 82 and I'm wearing long sleeves. Eh, yeah. Yeah, I do that all the time, hands in pockets. Yeah, a nice pair of gloves might be a good idea. Nice pair of gloves. Oh, yes. So one of the things about being a figure skater is we learn how to fall, and I would help teach, learn to skate, and I teach the little kids, and you have to learn to fall. You have to learn to fall safely, and one of the because in figure skating, you're gonna fall, like, it's Olympians fall, like, it's inevitable you're gonna fall, but it's how you fall that matters. Um, tuck your chin is one of those things that we teach kids when they're learning to skate. You tuck your chin because if you fall backwards, tucking your chin is gonna make sure you don't get give yourself whiplash and or hit your head on the ice. So, yeah, in martial arts, we learn to fall, watch professional wrestling. I did, um, I did do, mixed martial arts, kickboxing and Brazilian jiu-jitsu for a couple of years. So I have a little background on that. Speaking of that, tomorrow, tomorrow, DJ Radis made something. DJ Radis made something. Um, so Super Dave had challenged him to have or said that he'd like to get in the ring with him or somebody else, and, can't remember who, and Radis made a thing that's out on his channel now. However, he has been making different ones for different people. He made a DJ Radis versus Stupid Dave one, but he also made a Squid Pro Quo versus Bruce Matt Skin one. The preview is out now. The full thing should be out tomorrow. Um, the Biffle Crash will probably be Wednesday. 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 Yeah, BBB looks good in it too, with his finger up his nose. I was really hoping for the thumb sucking, but the finger up the nose will work too. Like, oh, hold on. I will show you the before we go here, I will show you the so do 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 do. Mm. So DJ Radis, don't get mad at me for the or he posted it on my Facebook, but here's the preview.
Officials are ready, the fighters are in the ring, and they are ready. So for the thousands in attendance and the millions watching from around the world, ladies and gentlemen, stand up and show some respect. Tonight, it's a one-fall hardcore showdown. No countouts, no easy escapes, no shortcuts. Anything in the ring is legal, and only the toughest shall survive. Fighting out of the red corner, she may be compact in size, but she brings aircraft carrier level impact. A disciplined warrior with precision in her strikes and steel in her spirit. A former U.S. Navy aviation electronics technician, second class, air warfare qualified, served with honor from 2004.
Okay, first of all, holy resting bitch face. Holy RBF. And secondly, when I lose weight, I want shorts like that. I really want to get shorts like that. But he's posted this on my Facebook timeline, and I'm sure that the friends that I have that actually are fighters, because I have friends on my timeline who were in like Bellator. I have a friend Zach who won a fight last night. Um, it, well, yeah, it does look just like me because it is me. It is a picture I posted a few months ago or a few weeks ago. He modified it, but it he modified it, but to make it a little more RBF than I had in the original picture. But yeah, this is not AI. This is Photoshop, I think. But I want those shorts. It's because it's an actual picture that I posted that's on my Facebook. So
2004 to 2009, she kept the systems running that kept the skies safe. And now she's grounded just long enough to dominate a different battlefield. By day, a full-time mom with unstoppable heart. By night, a sharp-minded legal case study reporter breaking down facts like opponents. Calm, calculated, combat ready. She doesn't need to be the biggest in the fight because she's the one you never see coming. So make some noise for Squid Pro Quo!
It's better.
And next is Squid Pro Quo's opponent. You don't have to cheer. In fact, we expect the opposite. Fighting out of the blue corner. He's...
I can't. The finger up the nose was and the fact that you can see it. No. I just can't. Like, there's so many things that are wrong with this picture. Oh, try to think about this when you go to bed tonight. See how many nightmares you have.
The self-proclaimed legal mastermind of technicalities. The man who treats courtrooms like cardio, always running somewhere. Known far and wide as the ambulance-chasing attorney, a specialist in loopholes, lying, and suddenly not being available for comment. He ducks, he dodges, he objects, and somehow always claims it was taken out of context. Calling himself a ladies' man, rocking a dazzling blue leotard and matching tutu like it's Fashion Week at the courthouse. Flashy? Yes. Subtle? Never. Dignity? Currently under legal review in all 50 states. And that larger-than-life nose. Legend says it's not just for breathing. That's where he keeps all his legal arguments. And he always has his fingers up in it, digging for another one. You may not cheer him. You may not trust him. But you will hear about him. Make whatever noise you feel is appropriate. Bruce the Deuce.
He did like you saw the preview for it in the corner. He did do Megan and Tug versus somebody. I can't remember right now. So he did a Megan and Tug versus, I think, the so here's the page. He's got DJ Radis versus Stupid Dave. And this is on my other my ETM page, so I'm not subscribed to him. I am now. So I think it was Lips and Chips. It was Megan and Tug versus Lips and yeah. Lips, I don't fucking know. I'll figure it out in the morning. I'll send it to you tomorrow. So on that happy note, I will see you guys on the next one because I am exhausted. But take note, wintertime does do more than just cause people to fall. The cold does do a number on your muscles and your joints and just reduces your room for error. George and Jeremy versus Kirk and Lynette. Thank you. Good night, Heather, who should have been named Stacy. Yeah, it is what it is. But the cold kicks all of our butts, not just on a fall risk. doesn't matter if you're 18 or if you're 80. The cold does affect you, and now we learned how. So, oh, hey, Livin. Yes, be safe and walk like a penguin. Y'all have a great night. Bye, guys.